What is essential is invisible to the eye. This phrase, so simple and so profound, is the heart of The Little Prince. But behind its children's storybook appearance, this book contains a spiritual and human lesson so powerful that it can transform the way we live each day. The Little Prince is the reflection of the inner child we all carry within, the one who wonders, questions, loves, and seeks to understand. His journey through different planets is not just a journey through the universe. It is a metaphor for our own inner journey, a journey to remember what truly matters. In everyday life, we are all travelers. We go from experience to experience, from job to job, from relationship to relationship, trying to find meaning. And like the Little Prince, we often forget to look with our hearts instead of our eyes. The writer was an aviator who actually had a plane crash and was stranded. The story begins with an aviator stranded in a desert. He came so close to death that he was driven to write this book, which reflects on his encounter with his forgotten inner child. Stranded in the middle of the desert, the aviator hears a voice insistently asking him to draw a lamb. In his adult mind, the aviator does exactly that, drawing the lamb as best his imagination allows. But the Little Prince, in his childish dissatisfaction, makes excuse after excuse until the aviator, impatient and eager to return to the work of repairing his plane, draws a box, indicating that the lamb is inside. With enlightened eyes, the Little Prince is finally satisfied. It had taken the aviator some effort to understand where the Little Prince came from, but he deduced that he came from asteroid B612. Thus, the Little Prince begins to talk about his small planet where baobab trees grow, which could take over the planet if he isn't careful to constantly prune them. Likewise, he finds a rose among the branches, whose fragility is the cause of the Little Prince's care. The bond that forms is so strong that we could say he falls in love with it. He cares for it, protects it, and places it in a dome. The rose constantly reaffirms its need to be cared for, and the Little Prince his desire to care for it. She expresses her need for attention, and he expresses his desire to care for her. But the rose is stubborn and capricious, which causes the Little Prince to distance himself from it and leave his planet in search of a friend. The first character the Little Prince encounters is a king who wants to command above all else. This encounter symbolizes the illusion of control. In life, we believe we can control everything: time, people, circumstances. But this isn't always the case. The king teaches us that true power lies not in commanding, but in mastering oneself. We must only ask of each person what each person can give. The king says this phrase to the Little Prince. The king was incapable of ordering anything that couldn't be fulfilled. He said that to be obeyed, one should only command what others were willing to do. It's a phrase that speaks to the importance of kindness in power. Therefore, you must learn to let go of what you can't control. Direct your energy toward your actions, not toward what is beyond your control. And leadership begins with you. The vain man is an eccentric character who lives alone on his planet, but who has an enormous need to be admired and praised by others. He represents those who only care about what others think of them, those who seek recognition and praise. But the lesson is clear. Self-esteem cannot depend on external validation. So, be grateful for compliments, but don't live for them. Value your essence, even when no one applauds you. True courage needs no witnesses. The drinker drinks to forget that he is ashamed of drinking. A metaphor for how humans fall into cycles of avoidance, excessive work, social media, shopping, addictions, etc. The little prince is saddened and amazed by his attitude. He represents those people who, to escape reality, take refuge in vice. Therefore, we must face our emotions honestly. Seek healing, not escape. Accepting vulnerability is the first step to liberation. The businessman spends his days counting stars that he claims are his. He symbolizes materialism, disconnection from the present, and the confusion between having and being. The businessman is too busy with his accounts to care for the little prince. He thinks he is rich and owns all the stars in the universe. He is a symbol of adults who spend their lives enslaved by the idea of ridiculous possessions and are unable to recognize the value of the life they are wasting. What does he teach us? Don't measure your worth by your possessions. Remember that moments are worth more than objects. True wealth is inner peace. The lamplighter tirelessly lights and extinguishes his lantern. He represents meaningless routine, doing without understanding why. The lamplighter is one of the characters that the little prince likes most, because at least he performs a useful task. His goal is to light a lantern at night, which he must then extinguish during the day. However, his planet spins so fast that his work begins to feel exhausting. He represents people who throw themselves thoughtlessly into their tasks without reflecting on the meaning of their actions. From him, we learn not to live on autopilot, to give meaning to daily tasks, no matter how small they are. When we find purpose, every action becomes sacred. The geographer knows everything, but has seen nothing. He teaches us that knowledge without experience is sterile. He is a man with wealth of knowledge about geography. When the little prince questions him about the geography of his own planet, he discovers that, paradoxically, he knows nothing about it. This character represents the inability to realize the value of what is within our reach, of our reality. It is he who reveals to the little prince the ephemeral nature of flowers, which saddens him greatly. Thus, we must learn, but also live what we learn. Don't be content with reading about life. We must go out and experience it. Wisdom comes from experience, not just from study. This is where the little prince realizes that although the rose is vain, capricious, and sometimes hurtful, he loves her because she is his rose. She symbolizes true love, the kind that isn't perfect, but is authentic. It teaches us to love with presence, not conditions. Recognize that caring for someone is also caring for yourself. Love is accepting imperfection and seeing the beauty in it. The fox asks to be tamed, that is, truly known. He teaches the little prince that only with the heart can one see clearly. The fox is the first friend the little prince meets in his journey to Earth. He explains that friendship is a process of domestication, in which two people establish a unique relationship, where both need each other. It is he who teaches the little prince that value of friendship and leads him to reflect on the relationship he had cultivated with his flower, since he loved it. The mission is cultivate deep relationships, not superficial ones. Authentic connection requires time, trust, and tenderness. When you connect from the soul, the world changes color. The little prince learns that love, innocence, curiosity, and connection are the most powerful forces in the universe. That the value of things is not in their form, but in the invisible mark they leave on the soul. Therefore, we must live slowly, observe with wonder, seek meaning beyond the material, and always remember that the essential is invisible to the eye. The little prince doesn't ask us to become children again, but to remember what we knew when we were children, that life is felt, not calculated, that love is given, not negotiated, and that the greatest thing in a human being is not measured by achievements, but by inner light.